Arriving in Israel felt different this time, not because I'd been here before, but because of the weight I felt stepping onto the ground during wartime. There's something very different about arriving with purpose that makes every detail a little more intense. Right away, the language hits you. If you don't read Hebrew or Arabic, signs can feel a bit overwhelming. Thankfully, English is often the third option, but that doesn't always help when you're tired, nervous, and trying to figure out where to go next. Upon arriving, you will go to a kiosk. You will put in your passport information, and you will be given a little slip of paper. That is your visa. They don't stamp your passport in Israel. Their fear is having an Israeli stamp on your passport could cause you problems in further travel. Some countries will not allow you to enter if you've been to Israel and had a stamp on your passport. Going through customs and passport control, I heard that their security was legendary, and I was prepared to answer whatever questions they asked. She simply asked, "Why are you here?" And I said, "I just want to be here with the people." She looked at me funny and said, "No, that's not an answer." And I said, "That's the only answer I have. I just felt God telling me to come be here amongst his people." She signed my paperwork and told me to have a good day. I noticed there were signs scattered about indicating a protected area, the area that I would need to go when the sirens went off. I went outside to find my Sharut, or shared taxi. I was informed that due to the war, that service was no longer being offered. I chose to take the train from Ben Gurion Airport straight into Jerusalem. It was clean, efficient, and honestly, a quiet moment for me to catch my breath. All of the research I had done indicated that this would be a nonstop direct train ride straight into Old City Jerusalem, but that didn't turn out to be true. It stopped about halfway. I noticed everyone getting off, so I got off as well. I walked up to a young woman sitting on a bench and asked her if this was not the nonstop train, and she said, "Not since the war." "Do I need to change trains?" She indicated yes. She said since the war began, every day seems a little different. She walked with me to show me where the next train would pick up. When I entered the new train, there were some young girls sitting there, in their early 20s. We struck up a conversation. One of them was from Jerusalem. The other one was from New York City. She was coming to visit her friend in Jerusalem. Arriving at Itzhak Navon station was overwhelming. I have traveled quite a bit and have never had a hard time navigating train stations, but for some reason, this one was different. I don't know if it was because I was tired. I didn't know the language. The feeling of tension in the air was very palpable, but I struggled more than I usually do when I travel. I decided to just take my suitcase, pick an exit, and rely on Google Maps to get me where I'm going. From there, I walked uphill with my carry-on, which I was grateful was small. Let me just say, Jerusalem is not flat. And if you're arriving for the first time solo, it's a good workout. But with Google Maps and many silent prayers, I made it to my hotel. I had originally booked a different hotel, but after speaking to one of the tour guides I'd been communicating with, he recommended this hotel, and I'm very grateful he did. Breakfast was provided every morning. The staff was kind and thoughtful. I was able to experience what a Shabbat elevator sounds like when it opens every hour. Being immersed in the culture within this neighborhood made this trip all the more special. I stayed just off Ben Yehuda Street, one of the busiest pedestrian streets in Jerusalem. Cafes, falafel stands, everything you need. It's central and safe, but you can still feel the tension. There was a heaviness in the air. People were going about daily life, shopping, walking, eating, but eyes were watchful. I could sense that this wasn't business as usual. Soldiers with rifles were a normal part of the street scene. It wasn't scary, but it was sobering. Google is your best friend in Israel. Between Google Maps, Google Translate, and checking currency conversions constantly, I used my phone like a lifeline. Learning the money was a bit of a curve. Israeli shekels look totally different, and the coins and bills take a minute to get used to. And the writing, it's not just another language, it's another alphabet. Hebrew characters don't resemble English in the slightest. So unless something has English translations, Google Lens is a great resource. Despite the confusion and the heaviness, I felt grounded. I was here. I had arrived. And somehow, even in the tension, there was peace. Not the absence of conflict, but the presence of calling. Thank you again for coming along on this part of my journey. If it's moved you in any way, through a story, a place, a moment, I hope you'll stay with me for the rest of the series. The Holy Land is many things: sacred, complex, beautiful, and being here during this season has only deepened my faith and resolve. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, especially if you're planning a trip to Israel. Coming up next, my tour of the old city of Jerusalem. Comfort, comfort my people, says your God. Shalom. We appreciate you sticking with us to the end of this video. We share travel tips, packing videos, and tools for navigating the points and miles ecosystem. If this interests you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out. Have a great day, and we will see you next time.